Look at this truck. Scania, MAN, DAF, Volvo FH. These are some of the most advanced, most powerful semi-trucks on the planet. Scania's V8 alone pumps out 770 horsepower from a 16.4-liter engine. European trucks dominate roads in over 100 countries. Mercedes-Benz alone holds a 20% market share across Europe. And yet, you will almost never see a single one of these machines rolling down an American highway. Not because they are unsafe, not because they are unreliable. The real reason is something most people never think about. And it goes back to a law signed by Ronald Reagan in 1983. Let me explain. Before we get into the law, you need to understand something fundamental. European and American trucks look completely different, and it is not a coincidence. If you have ever seen a European truck, a Scania R Series, a Volvo FH, a Mercedes Actros, you will notice the cab sits directly on top of the engine. This is called a cab-over-engine design, or COE. The driver is basically sitting right above the front axle, with a flat front face and no hood sticking out ahead. American trucks, your Peterbilt 579s, your Kenworth W900s, your Freightliner Cascadias, they look completely different. Long hoods. The engine is way out front, ahead of the driver. These are called conventional trucks. Now here is what most people get wrong. They think Europeans just prefer that boxy shape. That is not it at all. European trucks are built that way because European law demands it. According to EU regulations, the maximum allowable total length of a truck and trailer combination is approximately 16.5 meters, which is around 54 feet. Some countries like Finland allow longer setups. But for most of the EU, that is the hard limit. And the key word there is total length, bumper to tail. That means every extra foot of hood you put in front of the cab is a foot you lose in cargo space. So European manufacturers had no choice. They had to build the cab over the engine to keep the truck as short as possible while maximizing trailer length. And this design actually comes with some real advantages. Better visibility for the driver, tighter turning radius, which matters a lot when you are navigating narrow medieval streets in cities like Amsterdam or Rome. The law that changed everything. Now here is where it gets interesting. America actually used to have cab over trucks. In the 1960s and 70s, COE designs were hugely popular in the United States. Companies were building flat-fronted trucks just like Europe. Yes, but then something changed. In January 1983, President Ronald Reagan signed the Surface Transportation Assistance Act of 1982 into law. This was a massive piece of legislation. It raised the federal gas tax by 5 cents per gallon, overhauled highway funding, and established a national network of highways for large truck operations, covering about 200,000 miles. But buried inside it was a provision that would permanently reshape American trucking. The act set minimum trailer length limits, 48 feet for single trailers and 28.5 feet for double trailers, with no overall vehicle length limit on the national network. Let me say that again, no overall length limit. Unlike Europe, where the entire rig from bumper to tail is measured, the United States only regulates the trailer length. The tractor can be as long as you want. And that single rule change killed the cab over truck in America almost overnight. If there is no penalty for a longer tractor, why would you cram the driver on top of a hot, noisy engine? Suddenly, manufacturers could stretch the hood out, move the engine forward, and give drivers a longer wheelbase, a smoother ride, way more sleeping space, and a lower cab height that was easier to climb into. The long nose also acts as a natural crumple zone in a head-on collision. Plus, with the engine positioned out front, you just pop the hood for maintenance instead of having to tilt the entire cab forward. And that is why American trucks evolved into those massive, long-nosed rigs we know today, while Europe stayed flat-fronted. Same industry, same function, completely different machines, all because of how one law measures length, the regulatory wall. So the design difference is driven by law. But here is the bigger question. Why can a European manufacturer not just sell their truck in America anyway? The answer is a wall of regulations that are fundamentally incompatible between the two continents. First, let us talk about the braking systems. European trucks operate their air brake systems at 147 pounds of pressure, American trucks use 100 pounds. That sounds like a minor difference, but it changes the entire brake architecture. The valves, the lines, the components. European trucks also come standard with disc brakes and electronic braking systems, while the American market has historically relied on drum brakes with ABS. According to a study referenced by the Transportation Research Board, while European heavy vehicles generally have larger front brakes and are equipped with load-sensing proportioning valves that are not used on American trucks at all. Then you have the electrical systems. European trucks run on 24-volt electrical systems. American trucks use 12-volt. That affects every single electrical component in the vehicle: the lights, the sensors, the starter, the alternator, everything. You cannot just swap a fuse and make it work. Next comes the safety standards themselves. The United States uses something called Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standards, or FMVSS, enforced by NHTSA. Europe follows UNECE regulations under a completely separate type approval system. According to the European Transport Safety Council, these two systems use different crash test procedures, different barrier designs, different dummies, different injury criteria. They also note that certain safety standards in each jurisdiction are outright incompatible with each other, including lighting requirements and specific crash test configurations. A truck built to pass European tests would need extensive re-engineering to pass American ones, and vice versa. And then there is emissions compliance. The US follows EPA standards. Europe follows Euro standards, currently Euro 6. Both are strict, but they measure different things in different ways. A Scania engine tuned and certified for Euro 6 is not automatically compliant with EPA Tier 4 standards. You would need separate calibration, separate testing, separate certification. When you stack all of this up, different brake pressure, different voltage, different crash standards, different emissions testing, you are not looking at a few modifications. You are looking at a fundamentally different truck, and that is before you even get to the business case. European manufacturers would need to build completely separate production lines for the American market. For what? The American market is already dominated by established players. Peterbilt, Kenworth, Freightliner, International. They own that space. The cost of entry is enormous, and the return is uncertain. What Europe does better now, this is not a story about one side being better than the other, but there are areas where European trucks are genuinely ahead. Take safety technology for vulnerable road users. In 2019, the European Union passed Regulation 2019/2144, the updated General Safety Regulation. This is one of the most ambitious vehicle safety overhauls in history. It mandates that all new trucks sold in the EU must come equipped with blind spot information systems to warn drivers about cyclists, moving off information systems to detect pedestrians at the front of the truck during slow maneuvers, and improve direct vision standards that reduce blind spots around the cab. These requirements began rolling out from July 2024. According to the European Cyclists Federation, trucks make up only about 2% of vehicles on European roads, but are involved in around 15% of road fatalities. And nearly 1,000 of the roughly 3,300 people killed in collisions involving heavy goods vehicles in the EU in 2018 were cyclists, pedestrians, and motorcyclists. Meanwhile, European truck manufacturers are also pushing hard on decarbonization. According to data from the International Council on Clean Transportation, zero-emission heavy trucks reached a 1.9% share of all heavy truck sales in the EU by 2025, with close to 5,000 units sold. The sales share of zero-emission city buses climbed to 58% that same year. Volvo trucks, Renault, and Mercedes are all leading this transition. American trucks are catching up. The Tesla Semi and Freightliner e-Cascadia are making waves. But the regulatory push in Europe is years ahead. Europe has mandated CO2 reduction targets of 15% for most new heavy trucks starting from July 2025, with steeper cuts planned for 2030. So to answer the question in the title, why are European trucks banned in America? They are not technically banned. There is no law that says a Scania or a MAN cannot drive on American roads. But the combination of incompatible regulations, different length laws that make their core design impractical, completely different braking and electrical architectures, and the massive cost of re-engineering for a market that already has entrenched players makes it effectively impossible. It is not a ban. It is a wall built from decades of regulatory divergence. And honestly, both sides ended up with trucks perfectly designed for their own roads, their own laws, and their own way of doing things. The next time you see a long-nosed Peterbilt rolling down the interstate or a flat-fronted Scania in a European road video, now you know it is not about preference, it is about policy. If you found this breakdown interesting, hit that subscribe button. How we break down the engineering and the hidden reasons behind the trucks you see every day. Drop a comment. Which design do you prefer? The American long nose or the European cab over? I will see you in the next one.